Hi, and welcome to the Men on the Path to Love podcast. Bonus episode, Walt's story, from abuse to finding true love. I'm Bill Simpson, your host. I coach men who want to stop suffering in relationship and who want a deeper sense of love and connection. I coach them how to do it and how to be the best version of himself, and for his current or future relationship, and live the life he loves. In this bonus episode, Walt and I have a frank discussion about our relationships. He tells his story about how he was in an abusive marriage and he didn't even know it. Once he became aware and got out of that marriage, he found love in a way he never thought possible. Walt shares his secret ingredient to help keep his marriage alive and well. His path to love is truly inspiring. It's the Men on the Path to Love podcast. Welcome, Walt, to Men on the Path to Love.
Wow, thanks for having me. Glad to be here.
Man, you've been on quite a journey.
Ooh, and I live a blessed life right now, that is for sure.
Yeah. Well, take us back to where all this started and where you are today. We've got time. Just dive right in and tell us your story, man.
Where it starts, in a way, I ran around quite a bit when I was younger, got in a lot of trouble. Mm-hmm. And it was the classic get married or go to jail. So I decided to get married and stayed out of trouble. And I thought that was the smart thing to do.
So what you're saying is that you would have gotten in trouble had you not gotten married.
Yeah, I was in a lot of trouble at the point, and I was going down a pretty bad path.
Okay.
And the prosecutor was like, listen, you're not going in the right direction. I was like, all right. So I thought getting married would be the answer to that.
Okay.
So a lot of just nightclub stuff, drugs, a lot of running around, causing trouble. Nothing crazy, but just it accumulated, and it got to a point. And plus, it's just not a lifestyle. I was unhappy. I was very unhappy. Didn't know what direction I was going to go. Didn't have any clue what I was doing. So this happens. I get married. Was unhappy from day one. Mm-hmm. And just to jump way forward, it took me a long time, and my current wife helped me a lot on it. Was for many years, I was like, fuck that bitch, just mad at her, right? Just like, she's the problem. Well, no, dude, there's two people in a relationship.
Exactly.
Right? I was no saint. So it's like, it took me many years to accept that, to truly accept it and be like, okay, there's nothing wrong with her, nothing wrong with me. We just weren't a good fit. Okay. And we were more out of convenience. So I want to put that right up front, because I don't want to make her out to be like somebody bad, and there's nothing wrong with her.
Goes both ways. Yep, I get it.
Yeah. So we were out in Colorado. We get married in Vegas, and my best man, my buddy, was taking pictures, and he showed me the pictures the next day, and I was like, you could tell I was not happy right from day one. And then what we did was we started just living our own lives. We were roommates, and we would fight all the time. And I was making pretty good money, and she was not. She was like trying to be the entrepreneur, and I'm never going to work for the man. And she's brilliant. She's very smart, but she's the type of person nobody could tell her what to do.
Right.
So we clashed heads a lot. So fast forward, and about 6 years in, we moved to New Jersey because I started working with her sister in a video photo production company. Mm-hmm. Had a great time. Her sister's just an amazing human being. And it was her sister that brought it up, because I said, man, I'm just not happy. And she's like, you're in an abusive relationship.
Whoa.
And I was like, huh? No. She's like, yeah. Look how you're being treated. And I was like, huh? What? It's like the frog in boiling water thing. It just got to a point where I was just so used to it. Like we were making very good money. I need a new pair of shoes. Need a new pair of sneakers. And I'm the type of guy that goes out to Kohl's and buys a $40 pair of sneakers and breaks them, runs them through, takes me 6 months to ruin them. I buy another 40 pair. I go, hey, I'm going to stop by Kohl's this afternoon and on my way running around with a business. I said, I need a new pair of sneakers. She goes, we can't afford it. I'm not going to allow you to buy sneakers.
Whoa.
And I didn't. I was like, okay. Little things like that. And
Mm-hmm.
then I like to play poker, and I would be out in a poker game and I would buy myself dinner. I would swipe my credit card, buy dinner,
Mm-hmm.
pay the tab, instant phone call or text message. What are you doing there? What'd you buy that for? We can't afford that.
Jeez.
Just little things like that, like control. So what I ended up doing is a defense mechanism. I just put 15 hours a day in the business. I just work like an animal. I'm like, I don't need to be home. I just worked,
Just avoid
which in
it.
turn avoided it. Right. And which in turn made the business very successful because I was putting so much time in.
Right.
But I would sit in the studio, Bill. I would sit there and I'd stare at, the equipment. I'm like 8:30 at night, just sitting there with a beer going, this can't be a marriage. This can't be how people are married. This is not right. You should like the person. Love is one thing, like is another. I
Yeah.
think they're two different things. And I'm like, I just don't like being around her, and the way she makes me feel, and especially once her sister brought that up. Then I started like looking back, then I started
Yeah.
like, oh, what about that time? Oh, what about that time? So just piling up.
And paying attention, at that point.
Yeah, because I just kind of gave up after a while, right? Until her sister brought it up to me. And we're in Jersey, and her parents lived in Vegas. And she said, and we got in this really big fight. And she goes, you know what? I'm going to go to Vegas, stay with my folks to give us some time. And I said, if you walk out that door, we're done. She goes, no, I understand. You're just, and she tried doing her thing,
Control.
manipulation or whatever.
Yeah.
I didn't have it. I wasn't having it. I said, we're done. We're done. She walked out the door. And Bill, I'm telling you, right in the middle of my chest, I could physically feel something break. It
Mm.
was an incredible feeling. And like the lights were brighter, the walls were more white. It's hard to explain. It was
Well,
incredible feeling.
I
It,
get it, man, because I've been through 3 divorces, all right? And
Ooh,
I
nice.
know that my stomach felt like I was digesting glass, and it was like all these things, these symptoms were happening in my marriage. And then when I finally said, nope, I'm done, it all went away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. So her sister took her to the airport
Hmm.
and I was done. So uh, on the airplane, she wrote all these love letters to me and then mailed them back. But she got the divorce papers before I got those letters from the airplane. Oh,
How's that, man? For
oh, I felt great, by the
yeah.
way. And so I brought a bunch of money into the marriage. And through the divorce, she tried getting that money. And even her divorce lawyer said, you can't touch that. That's not your money. He had that prior. She goes, well, if I can't have it, I'm going to drag the divorce out for so long that he's just got to burn through all that money to pay for the lawyer.
Mm.
And I was like, son of a bitch, whatever, fine. Just, I'm happy. Like I felt amazing. And come to find out, her dad is the one that put a stop to it.
Wow.
Her sister told me years later that they were at the table and she was running through what she wanted to do to me in the divorce. I love her dad to the end of the earth. Her dad is amazing, dude.
Mm.
And her mom, too. They're both great, great people. And her dad looked at her and said, let him go. And that was it. He got mad at me because he's like, you gave her back to me. I saw I
So,
saw him quite a while after, and he was pretty upset with me. But
well, she wasn't just your problem, huh?
no, he's like, now it's my problem again. But again, going back, I've learned a lot. I've matured a lot since then, and you know, I was an asshole.
Mm.
So it was both of us. It just wasn't her. So then what happened? I went on a bender, drugs and drinking, and stopped working out, eating like shit. And like 3 months later, I met my current wife in a business meeting. And it was just a meeting of just like you and I were emailing back and forth. That's all it was. There was nothing there, you
Yeah.
know?
Hmm.
And we met face to face on a Thursday morning. And about 10 minutes in, we're like, okay, this is more than a business meeting.
Mm.
And I was 70 pounds overweight. My skin looked like a spring roll. You know how when you're
Mm.
really unhealthy, it just got that sheen to it,
Yes, yes.
And it's November, and I do no shave November. I lost my uncle to prostate cancer, so for 22 years now, I just grow up, and I don't trim it or none, so I look like Grizzly Adams by the end of November. And I went out the night before, and I still smelled like booze. And
Mm.
she saw something in me, dude, because we got talking. And I said, "What do you like to do?" She's like, "I like to dance." And I said, "I'll dance the fucking soles right off your shoes." Bill, she gave me an up and down like, "You?" She's in great shape. She takes really good care of her body, and she's very athletic. And I said, "Yeah." I said, "Saturday night, let's go out. I'll show you how to dance." She said, "All right, let's go." Been together ever since.
Wow.
That was over a decade ago.
She saw something in you, right?
Holy cow, dude. Yeah, we still talk about it to the day. So we weren't married until 4 years in. But even a couple years in, I was like, this is what a relationship should be.
Hmm.
I just did a post about it, and it's not 50-50, but it's always 100%.
Yeah.
Like one day she ain't won't want to do nothing, or she's busy or whatever. I got 90%. I'm talking household stuff, and just partnership stuff. And we have a son, and I got 90%. She picks up the 10%. Between the two of us, it's always 100%. It's none of this 50-50 crap, Oh, I'll do this and you do this. No, man, this is what needs to be done. I'll
Right.
take care of it. And then one day I'm just laying around and she takes care of it. You know what I mean? Whatever happens.
It's
So
balancing it out. Yeah. And that's
yeah,
the thing. And it really comes down, and I, work with men with relationships and oftentimes with the couple. And it's really collaborating to say, hey, we got to get this done and let's figure out how we can do it that works for both of us.
yeah. And it's like the list thing.
Hmm.
Like, as soon as you start making a list, you're doomed, in my opinion. As soon as
Hmm.
you start going, well, I do this and this and this, and you do this and this and this, dude,
Yeah,
stop.
it's
What are
keeping
we in?
score. That's what it's doing.
Yeah, what are we in? Fourth grade? Come
Yeah.
on. So she was always busy. I was always busy. Networking in the morning, working during the day, networking at night, just same. We had that rotation.
This time it wasn't avoiding though, right?
No, we were trying.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. No, I was like, man, it's just hard to get together because we're always.
Hmm.
So one day I sent her a calendar invite and I said, surprise date with Walt.
Mm.
And she goes, what are we doing? I said, none of your business. She's like, okay. And in my mind, I'm like, I just need time with you. Like, because we both work on a calendar. If it's in the calendar, and our calendars fill up even to this day. So I think I just took her to dinner or something that night. But we still do it to this day. Again, we've been together almost 11 years now. Our
Mm.
wedding anniversary is coming up this weekend.
Congrats.
And I just accepted a invite from her yesterday. I have no idea what we're doing, but it doesn't matter. I did one tour for 2 days, took up 2 full days. I said, surprise date with Walt. She goes, what are you doing? I said, you're going to have to find out.
Mm.
So I took her down to Atlantic City and we saw a concert and hung out and stayed the night down there and did all that.
Cool.
When we were driving down to Atlantic City, she kind of got an idea what we were doing, but it's still kind of fun up until that point. She had no idea.
That's awesome.
Yeah, yeah. So we really do that. And with the relationship we have now, it's storybook.
Mm.
I don't know another word that could describe it.
I can again support you in that because, like I said, I've been through three divorces. So here's a guy talking about relationship coaching, and he's been through three divorces. Well, I learned what not to do, and finally, I met my soulmate, the woman of my dreams, and we are 15 years into it, strong and stronger than ever. It's like it keeps getting better and better. And
Yeah,
that's part of, why I'm doing this is because it's never too late and she's out there, right?
100%. Yeah.
Hmm.
And and the thing is, I work in a blue collar job, and when I see the guys in my industry, they were like I was when I was first married. They were going at happy hour, staying at happy hour late, going home, quote unquote, arguing with their wife,
Hmm.
go to bed, wake up the next morning, repeat. And I'm like, what? I don't want that. No, I want somebody that to this day, I get up at 4:30 in the morning. And this morning, I go to crawl out of bed, my alarm goes off, I hit snooze, and we call it a power cuddle. I'm like, all right, power cuddle, and she wraps around me, and to this day, when our toes touch in bed or she walks by me on the couch, like I get shocked.
Hmm.
Like I can feel the electricity when she comes around, and it's awesome, dude. But it's work every day too. If I heard myself talking right now, back when I was first married, I'd be like, you're full of shit, dude. You're making that up.
Yeah, I hear that.
So if somebody's listening to this now in a bad relationship, they're like, bullshit, dude. I could understand that.
Yeah, and sometimes it's our age, that early age is not really understanding what relationship is. Maybe the relationship that you grew up with your parents, maybe that wasn't a great role model. There are a lot of different factors that can come into play here, and especially youth. And then you have experiences, and then ideally you want to learn from those experiences, learn from the failed relationship so that you don't make the mistake again, and then eventually mature into seeing what's really important here in this relationship.
Yeah, and if when I talk to people about it, I tell them it's communication
Absolutely.
and talk in the tone or like we are. Like
Mm-hmm.
my wife and I, of course we'll yell once in a while. I mean, you're human.
Mm-hmm.
But most of our stuff is in a tone like we're talking.
Yeah.
She's like, listen, something happened. I don't agree with it. And I think that, can we talk about it? Because I don't want this to keep going in this direction. I'm like, oh, yeah, absolutely. What are we talking about? And then we'll talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
Do I get upset sometimes? Yeah, but I'm getting upset because it's true and it's my fault. So it's making me mad, So I'm like, damn.
Yeah, you got to own it, man. It's like,
You just gotta, oh yeah, you just gotta own it and be like, yeah, that was me. Yeah, I did that. Uh-huh. Okay. All right, let's not do that again. But yeah, I think that's key, but also keeping things fresh, man. You can't just fall into a routine. I think routine in a partnership is a death sentence. You just die slowly.
yeah, I mean, that's what happens. You get into the rut of the routine, and the worst thing that can happen in a relationship really is that you drift apart, to where
Yeah.
it just fizzles out to nothing, and nobody's really done anything major. It's just the air's
hmm
gone.
And when you see too, like she'll call me out and I call her out. We'll sit down on the couch because our routine, I'm talking about routine. We get our son to bed and then we watch a show or we'll sit on the couch and do adulting, as we call, balance checkbooks and
Hmm.
wow, look at man, showing my age, dude. Balance a checkbook. Wow, I ain't said that in a minute. but
Really, really, yeah, right.
uh, but sometimes we just don't want to talk to each other, and we got a TV show that we've been watching, and I lay on the couch, she lays on top of me, and we watch TV. You don't have to sit there and like communicate that way every night or every day. But
Yeah.
if you're happy laying there, she just piles on top of me. I'm twice her size, so she just lays on top of me.
Well, yeah, I
You know,
mean, my wife and I will watch something and we'll have our either holding our hands or maybe our feet are touching on the ottoman or something, and that's just letting us know that we're here, and that
yep,
feels like connection. That is connection.
100%. We do the same thing. Like the way our couch is, I'll lay and she lays, so we're making like an L,
Hmm.
but our legs are crossed. And neither one of us are on a phone. We're
Mm.
just watching a TV show.
Yeah.
You know, if I see her on the phone and be like, hey, man, you want to come back here? And she's like, oh, jeez, man, because we're human, dude. The
Of course.
phone's everything to us. So she picks it up out of habit and starts doing something. I'm like, hey, it'd be cool if we hang out. And that's
Mm.
our little cue to each other, like, get off your phone. you know, I lost you. Oh, yeah, okay. Then she puts the phone down. She does it to me. I'll get on the phone and just randomly look at stuff because it's habit.
Hmm.
Right. And then she's like, hey, you want to stay here with me? And I'm like, oh, okay. But I don't get mad about it, you
Yeah.
know?
And that's the beauty of it, that you're not getting mad at it. You're not reacting. You have this mutual agreement. You call each other out on stuff and you're okay with that. It's not like she's nagging and you're blah, blah, blah. Yeah, it's just being real. And what's really important is to keep that connection. So yelling and screaming and blaming and all those things, how's that going to work for you?
No, it never gets you anywhere.
No, of course not.
No. I'll tell her, she does the same thing to me, and what I talk about here, we talk about all the time anyway. So I'm never going to say anything that I would never tell her. She,
Of
outside of
course.
her.
Sure.
And she's like, hey, see you later. I love you. And I'm like, all right. If I'm upset about something, she's like, you just like me today? Yeah. And I just walk away. She's like, okay, bye. It's
Yeah.
like,
Well,
I don't
and the
love you
truth,
every day. There's
right.
times I don't love you.
Exactly. And the truth is we don't. And
Right.
that's okay. Our feelings come and go. Yet the commitment's there, right?
Right. Right.
And you'll come back around, and she
Hmm.
does too.
Yep. And I feel where I've grown quite a bit, especially in our relationship, is past relationships. If it got to that, like little instances we just talked about, to where like I don't feel like I love you right now. I still like you. I still want to be around you. I'm just not in the mood, kind of thing. Whatever.
Yeah.
I would have a flight instinct. I'd be like, all right, fuck it, I'm leaving.
It's too scary.
Yeah. Now I'm like, I ain't going nowhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll see you this afternoon. She's like, okay. And I know she ain't going nowhere. She's like, yeah, like you said, you'll come around. I'll see you tonight. What's for dinner? All right. I guess, it's,
Yeah. And you both feel secure in the relationship. That's longevity. That's going to take you somewhere.
yeah. Security and trust. Because,
Yeah.
like, for work, she went to Vegas for a week. And Bill, before her, I'd be like, where you going? Who you going with? What are you
Right.
doing?
Right.
Now I'm like, all right, call me if you need something. I know you're going to be busy. And I
Hmm.
got our 3-year-old, so I'm going to be busy, and that's not a complaint. I love hanging out with him. So
Sure.
it's like, cool. I got him, all to myself in a way.
Yeah.
And there was a couple days we didn't talk to each other. Hey, man, if that's if she wants to go out and do that, something outside the marriage, all right, well, when you get back, I'll see you later. And she knows it too. There's zero tolerance.
Yeah.
And we have that thing to where if you think you need to step outside the marriage, just fucking tell me up front.
Hmm.
I don't need you to run a 6-month affair and then I find out on the side. Nah, dude, that ain't cool.
Yeah,
You know?
my wife and I both have that agreement that if we have that pull towards someone else or whatever, we're going to talk about it. We're not going to go there unless we talk to each other about that. And I don't see that ever happening. So
No, no.
yeah, I don't even
I'm,
think about it. Yeah.
yeah, it's not even a thought, right? Because it's like we took a beach vacation not too long ago. She loves the beach. My son loves the beach. I'm
Mm,
kind of okay with it, getting better at it. Right? Doesn't matter where you are, it's who you're with.
exactly.
That's the way I look at it. And there, of course, there's beautiful women on the beach,
Of
you
course.
know. And she'd nudge me. Hey, look at that one. Huh? What? Oh, damn, she's good looking. Because she knows that I'm like, that's just way too much trouble.
Well, you're a human
Which,
being. Come on, you're a man and you're a human being, and there are beautiful people out there. So
absolutely. And do you think that that's a sign of insecurity in a relationship to where the one partner would get upset with the other by with looking at somebody?
it depends on how they're looking. Like if they're gawking and really like, oh damn, look at her, man, look at that ass. That's inappropriate. Like
Yeah.
that's that I would feel insecure around that because you're not seeing her, right? You could talk about it and say, hey, I see an attractive woman in a bikini. I look, but I'm not like,
Yeah. Yeah.
and if she feels it's checking in with her, if she feels disrespected by you looking, then talk to her about it and how she experiences that. And if she says, I really do feel insecure when you do that, then stop,
Yeah.
you know.
Goes back to communication, right?
Exactly.
We make the joke of, yeah, why? Well, what? No. I trust my wife, We go on vacation. They're like, where are you going? I go, I ain't got a clue. And they're like, you don't know where you're going? No, man. My wife knows me well enough already. I'm there to load the luggage in the car and drive it to wherever we're going. Because she sets it up. She knows what I like and I don't like. I trust her, you know?
And what's different there, Walt, is you're not like, okay, whatever you want to do, dear.
Oh,
You're just cool with it. Like, and that's the difference. And some guys would see it that way as, oh, you're pee-whipped or you're just doing whatever she's doing. But no, it's you're as long as you're okay and you trust her, that's what it's all about.
why wouldn't I? That brings me a fun story. We were about a year in, and my wife is, I married way over my station, dude. She's amazing. And we were about a year in, and she was single when I met her. And I'm like, how the fuck, man, look at you. She was dating and stuff, but she wasn't in a relationship.
Mm-hmm.
So again, year in, we're driving down the road, and I go, out of nowhere, I go, huh? And I look at her and I go, huh? I said, I know why we're together. And she goes, she acts all, oh, really? Do tell. And I go, I tell you no.
Mm.
Bill, it like came to me all of a sudden. We're driving down the road and I go, that's what it is. Because she would talk about guys that she was dating before, and they would just yes all around her and just, well, that gets tiring, dude. Who wants that?
Nothing sexy about that, right?
No, no, because we'd be doing some. I'm like, I ain't doing that. She's like, come on. I'm like, no.
Yeah.
Or I don't want to go there. You don't want to go there? No. How many times do I have to tell you? No. So I think that that's part of it, because easiest way to bring it all together, she's like, I love your masculinity.
Mm-hmm.
She likes to have a man around. I sweat and I drag my knuckles and I build things, and
you fart and all that good. Yeah.
and I fart and I smell and I eat a lot, and I don't eat like she does. And she grew up in California. I grew up on a farm. So,
Mm-hmm.
In upstate New York, and she's used to eating plants and I'm used to eating meat. So it's just like that kind of stuff. But that's kind of what brings it's balance, right? It's
Yeah,
like,
of course.
you know,
And the thing, I'm noticing about you, Walt, we've only been talking for a little bit here, but you got a big heart, man, and you're open. And that's the other side of masculinity. And we have to embrace that.
yeah, 100%. And I tell my son, there's two things I tell my son. I'll look at him, I go, did you listen to your mother? Right. And then I said, everything you ever want, you can get through kindness.
Mm.
A work ethic and be kind and use your manners will get you anywhere you want in this world. But once in a while, you got to let a motherfucker know. And I tell him that he's 3 years old, and that's exactly what I tell. Because you got to stand for something. You got to stand for something.
Right.
It's like when somebody's mad, like a buddy of mine, he's like, this person's mad at me. I go, good, you stood up for something.
Mm-hmm.
Come on. If you don't stand up for what you believe in, do you really have any values?
Right. And standing up for yourself and being assertive, you can be kind and do that, or at least in a compassionate way, but it doesn't have to be all rainbows and unicorns. It's just
No.
being real and being a decent person, is what it comes down to.
Yeah.
I hear you talking about your marriage, and I think about mine, and the way you were referring to your wife going off to Las Vegas. My wife's doing a retreat this weekend, and you trust and all that. I feel freer in my life than I've ever been in a relationship. And I want to be in this relationship. It's not free to go out and do what I want to do, like go outside the marriage, right? It's just feeling free to be who I am 100%. And she loves me in spite of it, right? Hey,
That's awesome, dude.
I'm just me and she loves me,
Yep.
instead of trying to do something or be somebody that I'm not. And that's, to me, is what I'm hearing you say with you're just you and she's just her, and you're both free to just be.
100%. And not being perfect is perfect.
Yeah. Yeah. Perfect in all of your imperfections.
Yep. I'm the same way. And you rolled it up well, that she is 100% herself,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm free. She feels free. We hold on a high standard, quality over quantity.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel that that's such more impactful.
It's a beautiful thing, man.
Yeah.
Walt, I really appreciate you just opening up and sharing your experience with me and my listeners. Anything you'd like to wrap things up with?
I highly recommend that you try the surprise date thing.
Mm.
Even if you don't work on a calendar, a lot of people do nowadays because that's just kind of the way the world is. But send your significant other, however you do that with your significant other, your partner, or whatever you want to call it, communicate with them and say, Saturday afternoon at 2:00, you're mine till 4. What are we doing? It's none of your business.
I love it.
And some people are going to get super anxiety about it the first couple times because they're like, where are we going? How do I need to dress? What are we doing? What do I need to bring? Dude, I'll let you know before we go. And the thing is, Bill, I've gone and we've both gone extravagant, but we've also done, it's 4 o'clock. What are we doing? Let's go. We walk out the front door and we walk around the lake. That's it.
Yeah, and I was going to say, like, don't sweat it, right? Like, just make that date. And if it's as simple as walking around the block or going out to dinner or taking a flight somewhere, don't sweat it. Just do it.
But the thing is, you don't have to be like extravagant. If you don't have any money, go on a walk.
Yeah, exactly.
That's it. Make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, 2 of them, and go sit at the park. Come on, man.
It's all about
I'm a
being
hopeless
together.
romantic, dude.
Yeah, it's about being together and making that connection, man. And don't worry about the how, just be.
Just do it. Yeah, if I wanted to pass something along is communication. Check your ego. It goes both ways. And the other phrase that we like is it takes 2 people to fight and 1 to stop it.
There you go. Well, tell us real quick your Be Raw podcast. How can people check that out?
Best way is two ways, BeRawPodcast.com. The website's got everything you need to know on it. And then Instagram at Be Raw Podcast, all one word.
I'll have those links in the show notes as well. So.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right, Walt. Thanks so much, man. I appreciate it. Continued success with your relationship and your family. And maybe we'll cross paths again, man.
That'd be amazing.
Love it.
Thank you.
And that will bring this episode of the Men on the Path to Love podcast to a close. My name is Bill Simpson. Thank you so much for listening. And a big thanks going out to Walt Blau for sharing his story and giving us a great tip on how to keep our relationships growing strong. You'll find links to Walt's Be Raw podcast and more in the show notes. Now, coming up on the next episode of the Men on the Path to Love podcast, as a little boy, you may have heard someone say, big boys don't cry. And you may even be in alignment with that mindset today. And if so, it may be time to shift that mindset because there's a biological reason for crying, and it's actually to make us feel better. You'll hear Kyle's story and how he changed his mindset about crying and now is living the life he loves. Please join me for the Big Boys Should Cry, the proven benefits of crying episode. And if you have a topic or issue in your relationship you would like me to cover on this podcast, please contact me. You can text me on my podcast page, or better yet, go to my website, menonthepathtolove.com. That's where you can contact me, you can set up a free coaching session with me, and download my free cheat sheet, 5 ways to communicate better in relationships. It's all at menonthepathtolove.com. And if you are in agreement with me that we need more love in this world, then please share the link to this podcast and share the love. And until next time, keep your heart open and stay on the path to love.